Hello everyone and welcome to geometry class. So today we're going to be looking at the distance formula. We have it here in this little purple box. The distance formula is the distance between 2 points A, defined by x1 and y1, and B, defined by x2 and y2, is this right here. We got our distance equals this fancy square root thing under some squared numbers, and we see it graphically over here. And if any of you have any experience at all with triangles, as we have here, because this line is just broken up into its x and y components, we can see here that the distance formula is based on the Pythagorean theorem. And so we all know that's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that today, since that's a more general version of this equation right here. And to do that, we're going to actually look at some shapes. So right here I've got my nice little right triangle, because the Pythagorean only works on right triangles. And so it's a little crooked right now, but let's straighten that up. And so the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And so we think of this just as kind of an algebraic formula. We have our sides here, so we got our a, our b, and our c. And so if we square each side, we plug into the formula, take the square root, and we get side length c. But since this is geometry, why don't we do it the geometric way? So that is why I have constructed squares around each of the sides, because to square something actually means to square something, because the area of a square, coincidentally, if we rearrange it to form our equation here, so we're taking the square, this is our c, then we take our a and our b, and then we set up our equation, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And so now let's give some numbers to see if this actually works. So I 3D printed these little lines, and in doing so I made this a 3, 4, 5 triangle so that the numbers add up nicely. Because if we look at this square, this length is 3, this length is 3, we find the area of that, which is base times height, and we get an area of 9. Now let's do the same thing for the second square, which has sides of 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And now 9 plus 16 equals 25, which just so happens to be this side length of 5 multiplied by this side length of 5. So here you see we get the Pythagorean theorem in its original geometric form. And ultimately, we get to our Pythagorean theorem equation, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And then to get to the distance formula, in our general form, we take the square root of both sides. So taking the square root of this side makes this square go away. And here we have our distance formula in more general terms.